Hello, hello, and welcome to the Potential Apes podcast. You know us for the Gaming Twins show and Game Pass Plus, but today we cover everything else. From America to the cosmic void, it's a pod about life. Today, it's your favorite host, me. To my right, we have, blasting off at the speed of light, Mike.
Your real favorite host.
And of course, to my left, it's just Chuck.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing a podcast, guys. But first, a word from our sponsors. First one we got in here. This is from Bacon Sanity. He actually posted this last week. It was just a little bit past the recording, so we couldn't get it in. But we're putting it in here. Don't sweat the petty things, and don't pet the sweaty things.
Don't even know.
I love that. It's just a nugget of wisdom.
Can you read this little box right down here?
Yeah. All right. So the next one. All right. The following streamers are all extremely cool, and you go watch them right now. That was worded wrong. But I will continue. Well, after the podcast and when they're actually live, I guess, because obviously, please don't leave us. Mondu, the great one. Nuke Worker 12. Jesse Evil, and someone I've never heard called Clowbeard. Hopefully I pronounced it right.
Big friend of Mandu.
Signed, the guy who's going to attempt a how to compose music seminar live on Twitch the day after this podcast is streamed, and it ends up on YouTube now if you're listening to the edited version of the podcast, which I assume is Azran, because his name is not listed in this.
You're not supposed to say it. They sign up anonymously. We don't know officially if that's Azran.
It didn't say anonymous.
Well, you know what? I love that they use their sponsor post to shout out others. That's very nice.
I don't know. My apologies. There's only
I think
one.
it's part of the joke,
There's
guys.
only one person I know that can tear up a piano, and I've honestly never heard it. But
oh, it's so good.
Follow those guys. So what do we say? Nuke Worker 12, Jesse Evil, Clowbeard,
and Mandu, of course,
and Mandu. Yes, and anyone else you guys stream, let us know.
Zach's also pretty cool, dude.
We'll give you a shout out.
I love that he used his, I don't know who he is, or it could be a she. I love that person used their sponsored message to shout out others. That's so nice.
Yeah.
How generous.
Isn't that? Alrighty. This one's from Hamster. Keep away from the giant hand in your cage unless it has some nuts for you. Then it's okay.
That's hilarious. Poor hamster.
Tetanus shots.
And the last one is from Jesse Evil. Hope everyone's start to the year is going well. Sending well wishes and love to all. Looking forward to playing some games with peeps this year. Thank you to our sponsors.
How do they sponsor up? Like how can they?
That's a great question. So how can you support the show?
Besides listening,
you
to us
can
as you are now.
One, of course, donating your time. Thank you for pointing that out, Mike. That is probably the most valuable currency you could possibly give us. Mm-hmm. But if you want to give us more than just that,
that's totally fine.
You can subscribe to the channel. That, of course, helps support this. This is the reason we have fancier mics, and you can hear my sultry tones coming through this thing.
Yeah.
Do we want ASMR? We can get there.
We can do it.
Yeah, so thank you to those sponsors for supporting us this month. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
How do you sponsor, though? Like, how can I put something on there? That was my question.
Oh, that's a great question. How do you get your sponsor message into the show? Yeah, that is also a great question.
That's a good point. I don't actually advertise this, but whomever is currently subbed to us, when we're setting this up, I send out a special survey allowing them to say whatever they want at the intro of the podcast. So if you want to support us or you want to be one of our sponsors, please consider subscribing to the channel. Like we said, it helps us get better equipment. It allows us to use these amazing headphones and microphones that Chuck got set up. They're awesome. Absolutely love it. It's what allows us to get Mike on here. Not really. He's actually just donating his time, which is awesome.
Yeah, they don't pay me.
No, we don't pay him squat. And we don't get paid either. Like we said, it all goes into the stream.
We do this for friendship.
That's right.
There we go.
Besides, I
And
heard Bacon Sanity's word of wisdom. Okay.
Yeah.
What was it again? It said,
don't sweat the
petty things,
don't
but
pet the sweaty
don't
things.
pet the sweaty things.
That's why I don't pet him.
Me?
Yeah.
my goodness.
Also, tell your friends,
Oh.
tell your family if you're, once we're up on YouTube and our
Podcasting
upcoming
services.
podcast services. I mean, just take some time, and
But
we
in the
appreciate it.
meantime, as Mondi so kindly put it, we do stream this on Twitch, and that's at twitch.tv/GamingTwinsShow.
You can follow there, and you'll get notifications when we do go live. And yeah, we record this thing live, so you can actually join the chat if you so choose.
So with that said, and that word from our sponsors, would you like to start us off, Chuck?
Sure. All right. So we're going to start off with our community topic.
Woo! There we go.
Was this also marked as anonymous or?
No. It's marked up here.
Okay.
That was the sponsor survey. This is a totally different one.
All right. This topic comes from Azrin. And this is how he kind of worded it here. He said, "In this life we live, sometimes we feel good about ourselves. Other times, not so much. Depending on either can be seen as a good thing or a bad thing. Go too far into confidence and you get arrogance. Go too far into humility and you get self-deprecation to the point of turning off others." So, what are the bounds on how much we should present our ego? I really like this one. I think ego is, ego is one of those things. Like it's a very basic human thing. Okay, and it's been
How do we define ego?
well, for starters. Okay, your ego is kind of your outward perception of
Yourself.
self-confidence, question mark?
Yeah.
Is it leaning specifically towards self-confidence, or does it involve everything?
I feel like it's the manner in which you present yourself to outside forces or to the world.
It's a level of self-confidence
Okay.
to where
And usually, when you get into, areas of larger ego, okay, usually you're kind of
you're an
pompous.
arrogant. Yeah.
Arrogance was a good way of putting it.
Narcissistic.
Narcissistic,
That's
sure,
like
sure.
the top level.
So, what are the bounds on that kind of thing? Because I admit, okay, myself as a person, I like to consider myself to be particularly humble. It's kind of how I grew up. But at the same time, I think out of the entire desk here, I'm probably have the biggest ego, in my opinion.
I'd agree.
I think my ego is probably the biggest. And that is a great question about, how far can you push it before it's like, all right, like, cause I agree when I see somebody who's got like a big ego, it's like, all right, just like, could you,
Tone it down, bro.
Where's the humbleness? Like it's just missing.
I just
have any
realized you could
idea
say
what
tone
you
it
sound
down,
like?
bro, to either end of that spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
So it's a good question of how far to go. And I don't feel that I push it too far. Would you? I feel like I have the biggest ego on the desk. Okay. Mike, do you agree on that?
I'm on the fence. I don't know.
Why? You think it's you?
It'd be you or me.
Yeah, I agree.
So see,
I'm fine. I'll sit here as a spectator. Mike.
Nick was always So growing up, Nick was always I don't want to say submissive of the twins, but Nick was always like in the background, whereas Chuck was more vocal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say that's absolutely true. If
I'm
we're-
more the
if we're-
aggressor.
Yeah, if Chuck and I are literally the same, Chuck just speaks up more about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, this is a big thing is I firmly believe that everyone should think they're the. No, this again, this is a very close line. Like I've touched that line, I've gone over the line. I think that everyone should believe that they are one of the, or if not the best person. I think that's important to believe in yourself no matter what.
I think that was a good point because
I like that. That's a
like he said,
positive take.
you go too far into humility, and you get into self-deprecation.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've certainly been on that. I could connect with this topic really well because myself personally, like I said, I grew up in a very humble way, or it made me very humble. And I was definitely at that point, for a long period of my life when I was younger in high school and that kind of thing. I was definitely in this self-deprecation kind of.
Not in high school.
Range.
He was arrogant in high school.
I was arrogant, but it was a
He
mask.
was an angsty teen. Can you imagine that, Chuck, as an angsty teen? We were all there
I
once.
lived it. Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, it was a mask, okay? And I mean, for a long time, and I think I've talked about this, especially on the show multiple times, but, I kind of had a big ego to hide the fact of that humility, self-deprecation.
That's how we got started doing our streaming. You
Yeah.
know, we were, oh my God, guys, if you know where the unknown YouTube channel is, the unknown one, That's oh boy, you can see some meek people on that channel. Holy cow.
But I do remember, and I've told this story a few times, and I remember in high school at one point, I sat down, and I apologize if you guys have heard this story in the past, but I remember looking at myself in the mirror, and I was just like, I don't like you. It's like, that's not a healthy way to be, and I said, then change it. I just yelled at myself, I'm like, change it then. I said, fine, and
That's a great conversation to have. It's a good conversation, me.
It was. And I remember I said, you know what? You like the things you like. You like to play video games. Big deal. If somebody looks at you, you're like, you're a nerd.
Who cares?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, yeah, but that's what makes me happy. So I did it. I went to school, and I've told this story a few times. I went to school the next day. I had a smile on my face. And I said, I'm just going to smile today. Stop looking like a sorry blah, blah, blah.
You do have
Did we know each other at this time?
Yeah.
the RBF.
And the best part was that basically that very same, I think it was the day I did this, I was smiling, my wife sits behind me in class.
Dun,
starts
dun,
talking.
dun. It's fate.
Yeah, so it was the same day I started giving a rat's about myself, I met my wife.
You also have to.
It wasn't the first time I met her, admittedly, but
Yeah.
she sat down next to me, and I said,
How
you know
does
what?
it always work that way? Where it's like when you're trying to get in a relationship, it's like stop caring and start caring about you.
That was it.
And then once you do
That was
that,
it.
it's like for some reason stuff will just start weirdly happening. I'm not saying it's actually going to happen.
Believe it or
happened
not.
to me as well.
Believe it or not, a lot of it's self-confidence, but we'll go into that next month.
Well, let me throw my hat in if I can, Nick.
Please do.
So
You don't got any hair to throw in.
that I said hat, not hair.
Yeah, I know.
That's all he's
That's why
got.
you're throwing in the hat.
I
That's
do
all you
have
got.
a little bit of stubble, which is too much.
Please.
So I'll spinning off real quick at Chuck's topic, and this I believe goes on to many grand things. You cannot help anyone else if you cannot help yourself.
Oh, that's
That's
beautiful.
A great quote.
Love
Where
that.
is that from?
It's just one I've made up.
Yeah.
It's
I don't.
true.
It's probably
It's awesome.
taken from different things. I believe about that. That fits for a person. For I go all the way up to countries and nations and stuff like that. I use it all the time.
Sure.
Because there's no, if you don't believe in yourself and you don't like yourself, how are you going to be able to help other people or
so
or
true.
respect other people or anything like that?
How are they even supposed to respect you if you don't
Exactly.
respect yourself?
Number one, in terms of what Chuck's saying, if some people don't like you, they don't need it. Then forget them. No one cares. They
You don't
need to
need
be
their
in your-
approval.
They don't. Yeah, they don't
Run
need to be in your life.
input.
Move on. But for me, I'm the way that works is I have a very close knit. Obviously, we've been friends for Jesus.
What was the last number? I think it was like what, 15?
We're in like the 16, 17, 18 year range.
Yeah.
2004.
So
Jesus, it's been a while.
So just shy of 18. Just shy
Mike's a
of
classic over here.
yeah. We've aged together. So
We're a classic in his lore.
I've always been one to where I was very especially with my anxiety and depression that I've gone through. I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
absolutely.
I've come to learn that look, I'm a big guy, right? It is what it is. I take medication. It's not like I go out there and just like stuff my face with stuff. It's
Yeah.
just I've accepted who I
Bro,
am.
you had a medical condition that kept you from walking for a long
Yeah.
period of time.
And,
Might
so
play a little role.
You got to start, like you said, start loving yourself. And the problem is that's where it starts coming from, right? Self-confidence is the belief. And I've always believed, hey, I'm not trying to say I'm better than other people, but I like to believe that I'm up there as one of the best people. And I feel like that's a little bit arrogant, but you have to have a little bit of that in there.
You might even just say it's a good goal to strive for.
Yeah,
strive
you
to
need
be
a
the
little
best
bit of that
person
arrogant
possible.
spice in there because I think you can't have self-confidence without it.
That's
The
the
line you
topic
get
too.
to is when
you
you
need
start,
it.
Yeah, when you start talking about yourself, saying, "Oh, well, I'm better than you because I do this," or "I'm better than you." I think that's when you start getting into arrogance. Like, for me, as outwardly, I start off very quiet, but then as I grow more comfortable, my self confidence goes up, and I know where I'm at. Now, jokingly, you guys can attest to this.
Yeah.
If I trust somebody like these guys here, I trust complicitly. I will make jokes that are beyond ego parts, right? And that's just something I do, and it's I think it's more of like just a humor thing, maybe to boost my confidence. But the ego it's a dangerous slope, especially nowadays. But the problem
You're
is
so right on that.
you need ego to agree. You need that little bit past the line, I think, to fit in it. So it's kind of a weird mixture.
Are you saying there's a little bit of that fake it till you make it?
Wait.
No, you need self-confidence, but you need a splash of ego because I think it's that little bit of a fire, that little bit of an extra kick. It's almost like putting like a spice in
Okay, so
in
ego
thing.
is the spice of life, guys.
Just a tad.
Look at our society in general, okay? Like American society particularly, okay? Many people would maybe attach the terms self-centered, towards an American perspective or a lifestyle or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm not throwing anything on that, but our society is built around a bit of an ego, and we know that.
Oh, absolutely.
We're
Manifest destiny. Woo!
there's been a lot of ego in all sorts of facets of our our nation, our culture. That's what I was trying to say.
But it also and spin off real quick. It also every country also I think has that. You have the Russia issue like have feelings about themselves. France should have it. Wherever you live, you have enough history that you should also feel. And this would be another topic, but. We would be, Americans would be considered self-centered, but I also think like each country has a little bit where you can take that and use that like,
National
hey, I'm
pride.
from, national pride. But I think national pride, to a degree, depending on what your topic is, can be used as a moral confidence booster.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
See, and that's a whole nother topic.
That
It's
is.
pride.
Yeah.
Ego's pretty close to it for sure. Ego being a little bit more self-centered than team-based nationality. Booster.
So, Nick,
but,
take your topic, and then I have a question I'm going to ask that's a part of this. What's your take?
Yeah, what's your take on ego?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I was just sitting here. I'm like listening to all these good takes. I'm like, oh man, this is real good. I'm not sure I have much. I don't know if there's much I can add. I can give a little personal experience. I know for the longest time, guys, I know how charismatic I am and dreamy and everything like that, sultry tones and all of it.
Wow, listen to that ego spilling all
yep.
over the mic.
I was single for a long time. So, let me
I'm
just
still
say,
single.
sure. You weren't always single.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I was single for a long time, okay? Like maybe till I was like 23, okay? Went through a first relationship, whatever. I learned, I went with the waves.
Yeah, that's how you live, man.
Yeah, and you know what? And I learned a lot. And by the time I was ready to jump back into that pool, I was in there. I was like sending messages. It was all the dating apps and stuff, If you're not a super pretty boy, you got to send the first message.
Yeah, you gotta work harder.
Yeah, you got to work harder. And I remember back in the day, I sent up to like 40 messages a day to different people. Okay?
Wow.
Individuals.
That
was an
I'm gonna
effort.
tell you, man. I could barely do this. I'm proud of
but
it.
that was an effort, okay? And the thing is that I'm not throwing the one-liners and stuff. I customize everything to everyone's profile.
Gee,
That's how I was doing it, okay? Custom
Respect.
messages, okay?
Respect, man.
Absolutely. And eventually I was
confidence.
just about done with it. Okay? Well, I was trying I'd have, it's like a dating profile is literally this thing in practice. Okay?
Sell yourself.
You have to sell yourself. And it's
sell
like,
your body.
And to sell anything, you have to have self-confidence.
sure.
That's right.
Absolutely. But if you don't have that, all you can have is you can force an ego, or you can be self-deprecating to a little bit where you're so careful, you're so incompetent, you can't put anything positive into it. You try and you struggle. And it was a balance because I went to both sides of the spectrum, left and right, all the time, trying to do this. Ironically, I found my partner on Tinder of all of them, the one with the shortest profile before they expanded it. You can have like 3 lines of text in the profile. That was it. Okay? And I forgot about that. I was filling out the profiles and stuff like to a T. Every other day I was changing it, trying to like sort it out. It's like,
I remember
what's the
this
best
man
one?
who was like, "You got to get better photos." I was like, "I don't take photos of myself."
Sure, and that was the thing. I found 3 solid photos and I'm like, pow, this will work. And they were a little not saucy spice, a little spicy as in with the ego and stuff, a little pompous, a little
You gotta
bit of that.
have it. Like,
You gotta.
Yeah.
It's like a little kick, like cayenne
Yeah,
pepper.
you force the smile and you hope it works.
People
Sometimes people
love-
see through that though.
Look,
I saw through it on my partner saw it through me, and we both click like puzzle pieces, bro.
I mean, when it comes to confidence, okay, that's one of the biggest parts. And I know dating's not the topic here, but I mean, but when it
Self-confidence is important in every aspect
It's
of
a
life.
battle
self-confidence,
arena in this
it helps
topic.
every time.
Your job, your life, your relationships,
That's true.
everything.
Yeah, I feel like dating in itself needs to be a topic in its own that we should hit sometime.
Oh yeah, I got a great.
Do you have it on
Oh.
list?
I have a
The
fantastic
look,
topic. You're gonna
the
be like,
look
what?
on Chuck's face was
Can't
not
wait.
good.
It's so good. I can't wait.
Sounds
you guys are
good
gonna
to
be
me.
like, what?
So the long story short, okay, when it comes back into relation of like the ego and everything, at the end of this, okay, I was just about done. I said, forget it. I'm just gonna work on myself and be happy. That's all I'm gonna do, you know? I changed all my profiles. I put literally the things I cared about.
That's
in there and
exactly
stuff.
what I did. That's exactly what I did. I walked down them halls, high school halls, with confidence.
Absolutely.
I put that
And that
smile on
probably
my
took
face,
some-
and I said, "Smile, mother lover." People like it.
I like that. I like that advice.
So it seems like the end of the question here is, so what are the bounds of how much we should present our ego? It seems like, and I still have another question, though,
Sure.
that will spin off this. It seems, though, that from my understanding is to present our ego, we have to accept ourselves for who we are.
Yeah.
And or look at ourselves and improve what we may or may not like. So I'm thinking that would be the answer. How much do you present? Just present who you are. That's
The biggest, what is the bound? Like as soon as you start comparing yourself to others, and for whatever reason,
it's
like you
already
feel
bad,
the need
yeah.
to do that, you've already stepped over the line.
Yeah.
And as long as you're behind that line, I feel like it's, as long as you have, when you cross that line, the humbleness disappears. So you need to just maintain humble and your
It's a
ego
very
at the
hard
same
line
time. And
sometimes.
it is a hard line. You're totally right.
I got a take on this. And I think maybe a lot of us, we have all these different terms and how we see these lines and everything of these amorphous things that we've kind of made
and it
to
changes
describe
from
things.
where you live, what kind of groups you're in, all that also factors in there. I'm just throwing that in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let me think. If anything, I think we have many different words for maybe the same experience or something. How I might describe it is to be as honest with yourself as possible. And the thing is like, yes, there's going to be some things you don't like. Yes, there are some things you do like, and I think the things we don't like, we can't let them drag us down too much. We can't obsess about them. It's like, yes, they are true. What can you do about it? If there's not much you can do in the immediate, what can you do to improve it?
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Yeah.
As was said in the opening. So I don't know, and I think wherever the bounds are, I think if you don't cross those, either end of it, makes for a good dating profile.
Nick's
Thank
dating.
you for that completely random exit on that
dating
topic.
tips by Nick. So here's my thing. Like you said, I've gone over a line before an accident. Everyone has.
Oh, yeah.
I try to stay behind the line and be humble
Oh
as
boy,
possible.
growing up.
But at the same time, I also you can't be too humble because, like you said, it falls into self-deprecation. But you have to be. I still think you have to be confident in who you are as a person. And you know what? And if people don't like that, that's on them. And it's not saying And again, this comes to like. And when I say humble yourself, if there's like a whole group, like if your friends start saying, "Bro, you need to tone it down," then maybe you need to look in the mirror. So my question is, how do you change it? So let's say you're too far into humble and your self-deprecation, you're too far into the ego. From what I'm gathering, this is what I would do. Is and I think we've all done this, but I think it's the best possible explanation of how anyone can do this. Is look in a mirror, and like you said, evaluate yourself. Whether it's just chilling like a nap or just laying down at night, and say, all right, what do I enjoy in my life? What makes me happy? Like Chuck said, gaming, and Nick said, gaming and stuff like that. And just stick with who you are. Say, all right, this is who I am. All right, there's certain things like maybe, for example, you mentioned being meek, and you started the show. That helped. That was one thing you helped. Even if you don't have a lot of viewers, who cares at the time, right?
That's right.
If it's helping you, eventually that's going to grow your skill sets. I worked customer service, so I was very, very, very nervous at the beginning. But working customer service has since helped me, as a person. I think it kind of molded me into helping, kind of more to what I need to do. So my question is to kind of wrap the topic would you agree that the biggest thing is to kind of stop, take a look, and evaluate yourself on what you like about yourself and what you don't like about yourself, but what is changeable? Sure, maybe there's body parts you don't like, but that's not necessarily unless you want cosmetic surgery. But what I'm saying is there are certain things you can change.
Yeah.
But then there's things that, like, look, it's just, you're just going to have
That's
to live
you.
with. It's part of you, and you should accept it and move along. And that's the thing. So would you say that, would you agree that maybe you have to kind of just stop, take a day, take a couple hours and just say, all right, who am I? Who am I as a person? What makes me tick? What makes me happy? What do I want others to, let's say this, if I die tomorrow,
Yeah.
what do I want my friends and family and loved ones to say about me? What defined me?
I agree. I mean, like I said, in my own little story, that's pretty much exactly what I did.
Exactly.
I was so agitated, and that kind of thing. I literally just went to a mirror, and just talked to myself, and just, like you said, some things you can change, some things you can't. You can change your hair up, whatever, but you have to love yourself, and that's really important. So if you're in that position, okay, where you're in that self-deprecation, humility pit. Okay. I know exactly what that's like because I've been in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy, but at the same time, it's important that you do it. You got to drag yourself out of it because that's one of the hardest parts is that it's hard for anybody else to do it for you. They can help guide you, but it's a decision you have to make yourself. You have to accept yourself. That's something only you can do. So, I did it. And it changed my life almost immediately. Yeah. Now, stars align, luck, call it what you want. But at the same time, it entirely changed my perspective on life. And since then, my life has, focused on the positive since that moment. I made that choice and I was done with it. I said I was done with it. And since then, my life is completely focused differently. I think of life differently.
There's always going to be negatives in life. So you're just going to have to accept them and realize, mistakes happen. Negative things are going to happen in your life. Mm-hmm. But don't let them stop you from keeping on. Keep on. That's what the saying is.
I found that when it comes to finally finding yourself, you kind of find out, like, over so many years, you get tired of asking yourself the questions, is this okay? Am I supposed to do this? Is this right? Eventually, you realize when you keep asking the same questions, one, they might be true, as in, like, it's like, oh, am I supposed to be this I don't know. I have bad
pushover.
Vision. Yeah, a pushover or something like that. Eventually, I kind of realized, like, this is kind of just who I am. This is me, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. That's okay. And when I finally realized that, that's when I met my partner, So, I don't know. That's the interesting about getting through this life, is that no one can tell you what the answer is. You have to find it. There are many paths to take, and only you will know the right answer when you've taken it.
Yeah, and look, and you, like you said, if you struggle, you have friends and loved ones to look to, but all they can do is give you a guide as a hand or a hand to, but you have to grasp it. You have to take the initiative to change what you want to change and accept where you are. I know we've spun the topic a little bit differently, and I apologize about.
No, I think this is great.
But I think it did. It worked well. But the only person that can really help you to start off with is you. And once you find that niche, obviously these two can attest. And I think to some degree I can. But once you find out who yourself is and you accept it, like when I turned 30, I was like, I don't care anymore. Yeah. And it's not saying I didn't care before, but after a while, I'm like, all right, I need to better. This is what I need to change. I need a better job. Got a better job.
Yep.
My life's kind of pretty much in order. The biggest things I have right now is getting a sleep schedule together. Yeah. But but I enjoy life. You go out and do things. You have fun with your friends, and like I said, what's gonna come is gonna come. But you have to accept yourself by saying, all right, this is who I am. This is what the world's gonna see. And if they have a problem with that, well, guess what? That's on the world.
Well, that's me. Get over it.
Yeah.
Which again has a little bit of ego in it, but like I said, I don't think you can't have self-confidence without a what is it? With the chef, the emerald guy, where he's like, bang, he throws the salt in. You need a little bit of that.
Yeah,
I think
Sure. Well, remember, you are your ego. Your ego is you. So, I know we were talking earlier about how we said, nobody can do it for you. You have to drag yourself out of it. But if you're looking for the hand, for the assistance, you've got it right here in this community, and you're already here. So if you're hearing this, you have a support community. So if you want to, by all means, join our Discord. This isn't really like an ad or anything, but at the same time, like we have some amazing people in there. So if you need help,
you'll find some
we have a community.
welcoming friends.
It's awesome.
For sure. The last thing I just want to point out on here, okay, is that, look, I joked about being single for like forever, okay? But that's because I wasn't doing anything about it. And I want to give at least the warning, the both sides of the spectrum here, is that nothing can happen, or rather nothing
change.
can happen if you don't do anything about it.
But it's also okay to be single. It's not a knock.
That's true. That's dead true.
Yeah, if you accept it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, to be clear.
And I'm not saying that's what Nick was saying. I'm just saying is like, look, I'm 30. I'm currently still single.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make you any less of a person. And if you want to be single, be single.
Yeah.
If you want to,
You kidding me? Some people don't want kids.
Yeah.
I've got 4 now.
Especially nowadays with the age, it's not back in the day where, the age, what am I trying to say? Life expectancy is longer.
Nice.
So, a lot of people like to get things in order before they begin a life with someone else. Some don't, some do. It's up to you completely. So again, don't knock it if you're like, cause I saw some things in chat kind of pulled by. I was like, they're still single. That's not a knock about who you are.
Nope,
Again, that may just be, current circumstances for whatever it is. But again, in terms of ego and, self-confidence, that may help in that department if that's what you're worried about.
Very
just
true.
be okay with yourself. But again, it's not a knock to say, oh, well, I'm a crud, I'm single. That's okay, man. Or woman, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, I guarantee you, I wonder, that'd be an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
Because I know like the age of marriage and having children is gone significantly further into like the 30s and 40s where it used to be a lot earlier.
Out.
Yeah, because people want to get a life started. And that's what I think. You figure out what you want in your life, what you want to do in your life.
Guys, we're beyond the years of arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Well,
and don't forget, you have potential.
That's true. You potential ape, you.
Our new next topic. Now, obviously, as I said, it's a little late, but because this is our first Potential Apes since the new year rolled in, 2022, obviously. As always, the proverbial question that has been since the beginning of time, New Year's resolutions. New year or new you, or new year, same old shtick. That's exactly word for word. So basically, New Year's resolutions, guys. Where do you stand on them? Past experiences. Who wants to start? Let's Nick can start.
Oh, don't start with me.
Do it.
Never start.
Oh boy. Okay, so
That's true. He never starts the topics.
no, I never start the topics because I get so lost and I stop thinking and I just listen. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is great.
Do you want me
Then
to start the topic?
If you got one, please.
Okay, so
I have to think
I'll
about
be
that.
honest with you. I gave up on New Year's resolutions years ago. I have one New Year's resolution. Like I would save more money, which I think is a very common one. But now that I have a good job and I'm not furloughed like I was last year during the new year.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, this is what I'm do is work on saving more money. So the problem is I like New Year's resolutions. The problem is some of them they're the same ones: lose weight, make more money.
Yeah.
But those also require what's the word I'm thinking of? Like willpower.
Yeah.
And so like some of them you can do, some of you can't. Like I said, I talked earlier in our other topic about I'm a little bit overweight, right? I'm gonna try diet and exercise. Like I don't really eat crazy. I eat like 2 times a day, if that. And it's usually sandwiches because I'm working. But it's like if that doesn't work, like in terms of New Year's resolutions, I feel like everyone should have something to look forward to. Whether it's like I said, it's the basic things like lose weight, save money, buy a house, like stuff, or something like improve myself or save up for this specific thing I've been wanting. Or I feel like there's one, because I feel like life without some type of goal can get very sad or
Mundane.
boring. Yeah. You have to have, because if you don't, I'm a very big goal / list person. Like all right, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Now you don't have to necessarily set a time. You can. I think it's a little bit easier, but you say, all right, after 3 months, recheck in. And this is depending on, again, the problem is most of the New Year's resolutions I feel like last maybe 3 months, and then they're out the window.
Yeah.
But again, it could just be a life resolution. It doesn't necessarily have to be a New Year's resolution. You can kind of combine them, and you say, all right, well, after 4 months, you're like, I got a little off track, and get back on track. So in terms of New Year's resolutions, it's one of those, like, I like to say, for me, it's always the latter, the shame old shtick, and I want to say this was originally Chuck's topic because he's the only person I know that says that. But and it's not anything intentional. It's just like I never really got into the whole New Year's resolution, like, oh, like this is what, like I said, my goal is always to save more money. So that's how it's been for, years now. So there's no point in being like, oh, that's gonna be a New Year's resolution. It's just like, oh, if someone would ask, that'd be my answer. But for me, it's always just like, all right, it's a new year. That means, things start over, but it's still, the life continues on. Yeah. So I see it as it's a continuation. So I can understand why some fail. Again, it's all about willpower, though. You got to have, if you want to really hard stick to it, you got, whether it's like something, losing weight, save money, you got to make a plan.
So
Otherwise,
often
it's going to go off. It's going to off the rails really quick.
So often, like, the resolutions are also huge.
Yes, don't make a crazy huge one and expect to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on this.
Bring it.
And that's how we got to prime my brain, guys.
We just got to let it start up like a car warm up.
Yeah.
Yes. I start hearing the ideas.
Feed
I'm
him
like,
some
gas. Okay. Yeah. So
Stoke the
the
fire.
thing is that when I was growing up, I was a sucker for New Year's and New Year's resolutions and stuff. Not when I was younger, more so like this last generation of us. Maybe in the last like 5 to 7 years or so, I've actually cared. I always get excited because it always felt like an opportunity. It's like, oh, all those things I keep doing wrong. Now's the time to start doing it right now.
Yeah.
It's the time that I can just say, yeah, let's do it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrible at New Year's resolutions. I come up with all sorts of them and stuff. I don't stick to them.
Do you think you come up with too many or too large or
Always
combination?
Too large. Always too large.
Yeah.
That's how my brain works. It gets excited. It starts inflating ideas and stuff. And I have so many game ideas and story ideas I'm not even going to try and get into. I describe myself, if there is any descriptor of me, it's literally a thought cloud. Because that's all I'm full of. I'm full of ideas.
Yeah, the
but
problem
not
is
the means to get them done, unfortunately.
yeah, like you said, you aim high, which is a good thing. Always aim high, but
It's
you have
exciting.
to have the stepping stones to get to the high. And
Yes.
sometimes that's the problem. People, they slip halfway through, or at the beginning.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing. It's like I always made my goals way too big, way too elaborate, way too crazy. And I was trying to think, it's like, what is my goal this year?
What would it be? What's your New Year's resolution? If you just
It's
had
a
to pick
bit
one.
of a cloud of things. So here's the thing. Okay, one, it's like I always try and do some sort of improvement. I want to lose some weight. Okay, I got the relationship weight. I got married, got some relationship weight.
I'm telling you,
I'd
the
like to
things
get
are
rid
gonna,
of it, but we'll
that
see.
weight's gonna stick. Let me tell you.
Yeah, we'll see. But that's the thing. It's like, every year I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get up at like 5:30 morning. I'm gonna exercise. I did good for a while there. Fell off of it. It's cold. I don't like getting up.
Yeah.
And honestly, I looked in the mirror maybe 2 days ago. It was like the weekend or something. And I was like, man, what is my New Year's resolution? Because I knew this topic was going to be here. And I just looked in the mirror. I'm like, you know what? My only goal is to just do better. Just do better than I was.
So
'Cause
be
it's
better
always like-
than you were last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Improvement. Just whatever can make me do a little bit better. Like, I wanted to, I wrote down, be more creative, okay? That's something that I've always said. It's not a bad goal at all. But personally for me, who's constantly tried it, all I really want is, instead of some big lofty goal, I just want to see if I can do better than the year before.
Okay.
It's like, all right, if I can do a little bit.
So you're saying like maybe save a little bit more money, beat a couple more games.
I might even argue it's just cut myself some slack.
I meant like little increments where you look back and you're like, this is what I completed compared to the year before.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It's like any little incremental thing that can kind of push it forward, It's like, oh, do I like my appearance? It's like, have you shaved in a while? I'm like, I'd probably
Yes.
like it if I did. All right, let's do it. It's those small little things, And I don't know if I have a big lofty goal this year, but I think just whatever's better.
Well, I
Whatever
mean-
could be
I
a little
mean-
bit of an improvement.
You did improve. Like you have some lofty goals though, because when you got a house last year, right?
Oh, I think it was
was
the year before then. Trust me, all sorts of things.
It hasn't been 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been in here a little bit.
COVID's been a while.
COVID made the years like nothing. It's weird.
It's still 20. It's 20. It's the 20s, bro.
Yeah.
It's the 20s. So I'm
To be
saying,
fair,
gun
I
to your
got
head.
my-
What do you
I
tell a
got
guy?
my, I got my house in November of 2019. It was right before the pandemic
Okay.
hit. Like right at the start of that.
You,
Yeah.
So someone
Is
comes
that
up
2
to you,
years?
gun to your head. No, it's actually 3 years. I think 2019.
Well, when it
Well, it
hits
was the
when it
end
hits
of the
November
year.
this
Yeah.
year, it'd be 3 years.
So gun to your head. What do you tell him? Just improve myself. He
No,
goes,
I'd
what's
lie.
your New
I'd
Year's
say,
resolution
oh,
or else?
I want to stream more, guys.
Okay. All right.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. If any, you know what my goal would be? Probably make this podcast even better than where it started. That'd be exciting. I'd be glad for that. I want to do a better project. I would like this podcast to take off. I would hope we can get one viewer to listen to the podcast in podcast form.
And it doesn't have to be a Twitch viewer either.
No,
you
it doesn't
just
have to be a Twitch viewer.
Get somebody to hopefully enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, so if we, because that's the thing, our content, it lends itself to podcasting. It just
always
does.
has.
We talk we talk, we do debates, we do have conversations, So
All right.
maybe that'll do something. We'll see.
All right.
Okay, so this was actually my topic, and I wanted to go last because I didn't want to mess with your guys'
He didn't want to. Basically, he didn't want
what the topic
Completely
is.
influence what
Real
we're
quick
gonna
though,
say.
Chuck, you have to start. What is your New Year's resolution?
That's why we got to get into this.
Oh my God, he's
All
got
right,
a a paragraph on
number
his
one.
phone.
Number one, you guys ready for this?
Oh my God.
New Year's resolutions are dumb. Okay,
Oh.
so
Oh.
Can I
now-
throw something in real fast?
go ahead.
Royce doesn't like New Year's resolutions. Says, why wait for the start of a year? Why not tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of it's like what self improvement. You should do that now. Do it when you're
Yeah.
ready to.
Life
But
resolutions.
in general, okay, New Year's resolutions are always like this. They're always come off like a joke after a while. Okay, you mentioned like what they last like 3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
how mine all do, and they all cave. That's why I said be better.
I took some notes. I wanted to do some comparing here because I said, you know what, I'm not doing New Year's resolutions because those are.
Now, have you
lame
been like
sauce.
this recently, or is
was
this how
his
you
topic,
always
guys.
felt?
This is
Or
I
it's
kind
kinda
of
just-
came up with this in the last few months.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing New Year's goals. Okay. Now it's like, what does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you.
Is that not
okay?
the same thing?
Well,
No,
I'm going to
this
tell
is
you the
different.
difference. Okay.
Let's hear it.
New Year's resolutions are often about lifestyle changes. Okay. Yeah. You guys have any idea how hard it is to change the direction of a river or a stream by
Yeah.
hand? Okay. Lifestyle
totally
changes are
right.
not easy.
The older
okay?
you are, the harder it is.
And that's
At least
why.
that's said.
And that's why, they last like what, 3 months if you're lucky and you're doing great. Okay. Here's the other problem with New Year's resolutions. You're either achieving or you're failing. Okay. And that's not like, are you doing it? Oh, you stopped working out? Well, you're failing.
and it
you
messes
know?
with your psyche.
That's
They
what I was
do.
saying. Just a little better.
Falling behind means failure
Yes.
Unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily, but
with New Year's
yes,
resolutions.
yes, it
now,
makes it.
Now, I'm doing New Year's goals. Okay. New Year's goals, number one. Okay. Achievable. Okay. There is an ending. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get healthier. Well, what's your definition of that?
Yeah.
Like set a goal. You can work towards this, and of course, progress is success. Okay, because you're working towards your goal. It doesn't have to just die off. You have a finish line. Okay, now I did come up with some of my own goals. I wanted things that these things are things that I wanted to do. Okay. But they're not completely unachievable. These are just things that I know that I need to kind of do, but I could totally put off. But
Go to
at the
E3?
same time, huh?
Go to E3.
No,
No,
that's
it's dead.
that's an unachievable goal. You're literally not doing E3 this year in person. So,
Curses.
okay, so here are my actual New Year's goals. Okay, and some of these, they might be a little less, than what might you expect. It's about our own personal lives.
Yes.
So these are some of my personal goals. Number one, we recently started a business in my house. So I want to automate a bunch of stuff. I want to be able to automate a ton of different aspects of the business, including lunch menus, because we teach preschool and daycare.
Do the popsicle stick method.
No.
You write down different lunches. and you
I'm doing
put 'em
Excel docs and everything, bro. Okay, like I want to automate lunch menus. I want to automate lesson plans.
caveman.
I want to automate customer
Popsicle
billing
sticks.
and supply restocking. So, I mean, yeah, it is.
Do you want to grow your business?
That's a business if I
Yeah.
ever heard.
Okay.
No, he wants to simplify it so
Yeah,
he doesn't
that's
have to
what
do
I'm saying.
anything.
Yeah,
hear that.
I want to make it easier to run, because this is kind of like, it's like,
Efficiency.
okay, we're running a business. It's working fantastic and we're really enjoying that. Let's make this as comfortable as possible.
And
Let's
then
make
grow.
this as,
You'd be shocked how far just a clear moment of thought can take you.
what do you mean?
We rarely get it with how our minds work.
Yeah.
Oh, an epiphany.
Yeah.
No, I'm just talking about just thinking straight in a straight line.
Well, in addition to this, I finally mildly have a steady income because I'm not working a job that I can't stand and I know I'm going to leave at some point, So I want to figure out my finances and, figure that out. I want to, bust out the Excel doc, get some graphs going, Like I said, a lot of these aren't that fun.
But to help your life overall.
Yes. I'm really excited. This year is the year I'm going to get into stock trading. I'm really excited about it. I've done a bit, but I want to actually do the research.
You got to
I
look
wanna
into crypto
form a
too, though.
Thing. Yeah, there's certain aspects.
Makes my head hurt.
Definitely. Crypto's fine, but I mean, a lot of it's...
I just gave my brother, I was like, here, make me money.
Yeah, really. And sometimes that's how it goes. And this is my year where I want to actually do this. In a smart way, there are great ways, to invest in certain ways for retirement. It's like, yeah, put your money there if you want it to grow over 15 years. Yeah, you should do that. That's smart. Inflation's a real thing.
401ks and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that stuff makes money over time. It just does. But at the same time, I want to kind of do it as a hobby, do it as a side job. So, and you don't use what you can't afford to lose. Like that's basic
stocks
in
I think
that.
are always for the majority of people. Just real quick, that's always like a put aside a little bit of money because my grandpa and my dad did that to see if you can gain some money. It's the reverse of what I would say gambling is like.
Yeah, it's
is
like
gambling.
educated gambling is what it is.
Yeah.
I want to get our podcast going and out there. I want to try and really launch it this year and see if we can get it going. I really want to do this. I love this show. This podcast is so much fun. And then of course the last thing, very basic here. I want to play more games. I've had a really rough last year.
You did have 4 kids.
I do have 4 kids, and one of them was brand new, and pregnancy.
They're all
for
brand
a big
new?
chunk of them. Well, yeah, I mean,
Ironically, all yours are shiny and brand new.
yes.
He had 4 in 1 year, according to Mandu. It was actually it's an amazing feat.
It was a lot going on.
Achievement
Yes.
unlocked.
And then I started a business at the same time.
So here, real quick, Chuck, if I can interject, do you feel like that's too many?
Goals?
Yes.
No. See, now these are all things that, and maybe I'm being overambitious, but these are things I want to start now. And that's why I was like, you know what? These are my New Year's goals. I'm not doing New Year's resolutions. Ooh, I'm going to whatever, and then fail in a few months and forget. These are things that I know can improve my life in many ways. So I really want to focus
Do you
in
have
on
an
them and
order?
do them. Do I have an order? No, not at all. I'm not that kind of person. I'm an artist, so I just float from one project to the next.
That's the problem, though. If you don't have an order, I'm gonna be honest. That's pretty ambitious of goals. Those are pretty ambitious goals.
I already have a bit of a method. We're open for a certain amount of hours. I basically spend time in the room with the infant, taking care of my daughter, and a lot of that time I want to dedicate into learning stocks. Actually doing that job.
But you also have to do. You also wanted to streamline your business. You also want to.
That's
do,
right.
That's a lot of stuff you got on your plate at once. That's all.
right.
That's all I'm saying.
You're right, and you know what? That's why I said they're my New Year's goals. Okay, that's what I want to do in 2022.
Do you have a date set for the goals?
No.
Yeah, the end of the year.
Yeah. To be honest, it's kind of like I said. It's a goal I want to achieve this year, and if I achieve any of them, they will improve my life in great ways.
Okay.
So instead of, I don't want to chase something that's like my weight. It's like, yeah, I should just do that. I don't need to set my goal for this year. I'm gonna want to do that the next year and the next year and the next year.
It's a
I'm
consistent
keeping myself
improvement.
healthy.
Life improvement.
Yes.
Yeah.
So while yes, it is a bit of a checklist of chores.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, well, that's what I know I should do to improve my entire life. So that's what I set for my New Year's goals. Instead, I didn't want to do New Year's resolutions. I don't like New Year's resolution. I never have. I don't feel they work. But a New Year's goal, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I want to get this thing done, so I'm going to do it.
So here, real quick, if I can interject, Nick.
Sure.
I feel like Chuck's New Year's goals is he just changed the word from resolution. No offense. I'm just saying. I like the idea.
It's fine.
I think even if it is just changing the word around, it's changing the perception of
Yes, which
of
will
it, or the
may help.
perspective.
Yes.
New
Which I
Year's
think
resolutions
is
is
valuable. 'cause,
burned out,
Like all the things I listed, okay, I said I was excited about them. I got broken over the course of 7 years of trying all those years, and then I ended on, well, what's incrementally better? Where is improvement? How about that?
Yeah.
I think is the best word for it. So
My whole idea for changing it from resolutions to goals, okay, was to kind of give New Year's resolutions a new coat of paint, okay?
Sure.
And I changed a few of the aspects that were completely worthless that makes New Year's resolutions so terrible. People don't like New Year's resolutions. Many people don't like them because it just feels like failure every time you do them.
So, yeah.
So I changed that perspective into something that was more achievable instead of chasing something that's you should be chasing all the time to better yourself, to be healthier.
it's interesting how you say that. It's like that obvious advice, but you only realize it when you realize it yourself.
Somebody might have to give you a nudge or just remind you, and that's why I said it's like a fresh coat of paint with a few extra rules.
So here's
Sure,
my
yeah.
here's my
Protect,
take. Right, I'm gonna
keeping it
stop
sanctum.
New Year's goals. I'm gonna
Sanctum,
stop
you're
New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
And I think in my perspective, they're just gonna be life goals for me.
Yeah.
Because all the stuff I want it to is more of a long term type of life thing. So that's what I would say is I would no longer do New Year's goals for me or New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals. It'd be like life, like
That's
improve
exactly-
my life overall. Because I look
That's
at
what
it
you
a
should
long
do.
term type. Yeah.
I completely agree because when you call it a life goal, it's like, well, yeah, here rolls around August, okay, and you remember your life goal. It's like it's not my goal for this year. It's my goal for my life.
Yeah, and I think
know.
Nick kind of scratched the surface with his.
And now you can have New Year's goals and life goals.
Yeah, but I feel like life for me, like life goals are mean
How
more.
about this? I'm going to reverse the question on you guys, okay?
Okay.
I want to hear what's a goal you want to achieve this year?
Besides, okay, like I said, I want to have more in my savings by the end of this year. That would be, I would say, would be a New Year's resolution.
You
or
should
New Year's
set
goals.
you should set a goal limit on that, and
Yeah,
then that way you
X
can feel
amount
like
of dollars each month. So if I have, let's say, I want an extra $1,000 in 2 months or a month, you know what I'm saying? That would be a good way to go about a New Year's goal.
Yeah.
I would like to start a relationship and start my life in that way because I have a lot of good stuff around me now.
Yeah.
There's stupid little minor things like I want to redecorate my room, get all my I collect a lot of
that's
stuff.
something you could do this year.
Yeah.
And like I said, these goals don't have to be so life changing.
Yeah.
Because then it becomes overwhelming after a bit.
They
You
can
feel
be
like you're failing.
Like I said, they can be minor. It's not a bad thing if your New Year's resolution is something as simple as redecorate my room, like you said, improve this, save more money. It's okay. You don't have to, and like you said, you don't want it too lofty to where you're like, well, I've got to build 7 stairs to get to my ultimate goal, which can be, unless
It's
you're
intimidating
super
attempting that.
Yeah. So, any more topic or takes, or should I
I want
go?
this, guys. Come on, what's your
My
goal this year?
Said-
year.
yeah.
Not a bunch of life goals like New Year's resolutions
I've been
are.
thinking
I want to
about
hear
this.
about your goal this
I've been
year.
thinking about this a bunch.
Start a family, get a new job, get a new car.
I did all those relatively recently.
No, not necessarily.
I got married, got a new car, got a house.
Yeah.
True.
Um,
You children,
I think what I want to
get a new system.
Oh Jesus, you're talking about huge things. I was about to say it's like I want
Life goals.
to
Hashtag life goals.
finish the tutorial in making Doom in Unity.
You should do that. I've been telling you,
That's
learn
what I wanna do.
Unity. I'm not
I've
saying
been
do the
playing
whole
with
thing.
game editors forever, and I can't do
Yes.
anything with that. But if I learned a real game engine, I can do a whole lot.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
tell yourself my goal this year is to make a game in Unity. It's like,
Yeah.
no, your goal is, it's like, I want to learn, I want to finish that tutorial.
I want to
Because-
finish that.
Step by step.
If you do that step, if you achieve that goal, you'll feel so empowered to keep going.
What's it from?
you,
I
motivational
think it's from The Lion King. The Journey of 1,000 Steps begins with the first one, or something to that effect.
I don't think it's Lion King.
Yes,
but
it was. It
that's
was
good.
in the 0.5 version.
I don't like
Oh,
that because I am so
please.
good at taking out of the
terrible.
1,000 steps. I am so great at taking the first 7.
That's the hardest part, is taking the first step. Then it gets hard. Yes, that's fair. But But all right. So we
yeah,
do have comments from the community.
Ooh, yeah, I'd love to hear about their
Please share,
perspective.
Azran wrote a whole paper
essay.
here. Essay, yes.
Ooh, nice. I want to hear it.
All right. So Azran says, I don't have a resolution so much as I have plans. In making those plans happen, I'm hoping to be more active on socials, but I'm not a huge on the idea of resolutions just because I'm always resolving to be better. I like it.
See, that's
Life goal.
exactly what I was kind of saying. Yeah.
A common one is having a better diet and exercise. I agree with that being something to strive for, but it's never a bad time to start, New Year's or otherwise. Again, yes. Conversely, plans are something I can set in stone to make happen. I plan to go to a convention for the first time this year. I did that a couple years ago, but then COVID, like right before COVID hit. It was very fun. I'm going to apply as a panelist. Oh, nice. Just to see what happens. And I've got some collaboration projects that are already in the works. Plus, things about plans. I'm going to keep making them. It's not so one and done. That's actually very nice touch there. I never thought about that.
I like that.
Yeah.
The only thing about humans that's one and done is the whole of our lifespan. So we have to keep using it to our fullest. See, he's got life goals too.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will come to me and say, I'm just switching the word from resolution, but I interpret the question as, do I subscribe to setting a goal at the start of the year and living by it for the whole year through, which is a definite no for me. If you thrive that way, that's great and keep doing right by you. So I guess Azran kind of feels the same way you do. Is like, you can set minor goals for your New Year's, but it's constant improvement over there.
That's right.
Which is some pretty cool stuff. Like I went to a convention, Azran, very fun. And yeah, all this stuff is something like you said. This should be started New Year's otherwise, and he makes a very point I never even thought about. It's one and done.
Yeah. And
That's terrible.
That to be honest, that's probably some of the best criticism against what I said. While he was agreeing, entirely that, the resolution thing, it's kind of burned out, it's blah, blah, blah. At the same time, goals can be very one and done. And I think the reason my goals are like that, or I'm setting goals that I could technically achieve this month, next month, is that because, like I said, it would improve my life entirely. But at the same time, when you achieve those goals, you start hitting those goals. It's like, I did this year, I achieved it. It helps inspire you to continue and to make more goals, which I think is great, because I think that's what I'm really excited about calling it New Year's goals, because the whole point of New Year's resolutions is like, all right, this is my fresh start. This is my chance to do it again.
Despite being 20, 25, 30,
exactly.
50. Yeah, and it's like
And at that point, okay, it's like with New Year's goals, it's like, all right, same thing. I still get that feeling. It's got that fresh coat of paint. It has the achievable goals. It's like, all right, I'm set for this year. I can do this year, and I'm excited. And then I can set more goals after that.
Plus,
when I achieve the ones I set at the start of the year.
Life is fluid, so it's ever changing. So, that's, I think, Chuck's goals. Like, you also have to realize, this brings up again with the one, you have to adapt, because something could happen to where those goals you might have to take an alternate route. And change things.
Absolutely.
I think we can all speak from some type of experience that has happened. All right. We had another one from some guy named Yob Rats, GA, but it's just AG Star, as going rogue on his name here. It's technically AG Star Boy. I'm just going to call you AG Star.
Yeah, AG.
It sounds cooler. He says, it's pretty straightforward, and I like it. I want to finally start making content again. It makes me happy.
I mean, you know what? That is a mother-loving goal right there. And the best part is he can achieve that tomorrow.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think, especially with that beautiful new coat of paint, you can get excited about it and hopefully inspire you to get up and do it. You know what I mean? Make that content. I mean, that's what I really enjoy doing too. And that's why we're doing this right now. You have to do what you really enjoy. And to be honest, if you get to do more of what you do enjoy, like, especially if you've fallen off of it, there's a few things that I like. I want to play more games. I haven't had the chance.
Same.
Just had an infant, really ate my time. Pokemon's been there for me. I've just been playing lots of Pokemon.
Nothing
one
wrong with
hand.
I'm still playing Pokemon Emerald on a Game Boy Advance.
Oh, I attempted to move forward, but
I would also say, to real quick, Chuck, is make content that you enjoy making. Don't force yourself, because in the I feel like everyone's like, well, this person has a sponsor because they're playing Fortnite and all this stuff. Don't force yourself to do something that they are doing just because you see that they're successful. That doesn't mean you can't be successful in your own endeavors. Because, look, there's games I'm not going to like. I could probably play and maybe do good and then maybe get recognized or do stuff but I'm like, no, that's not me. That kind of stems back from actually our first topic. So
yeah, it's important to be you. It really is, because it helps all your aspects of life.
All right, and finally, from our other New Year's resolution topic, Jesse Evil says, not one for resolutions, more so set about doing one thing that I promise to myself that I will do, rather than set goals such as try to get fitter or go on a diet and such. So for me, I plan to go to a swimming pool, something I've missed doing for the past 11 years due to, is it dysphoria? I'm not sure what that is. Someone will have to explain that to me, but that's sad. Outside that, I do look forward to starting season 2 of my content on Twitch and to strive to bring unique and fun content that provides laughs to those who watches. So I feel like Just Evil also touches on that. Like, again, it's forget about the resolutions. It's more about doing things that, again, make, and this actually feels like it touches our first topic a lot. It makes you better as a person, makes you happy as a person. And like, you know, I don't know, what is dysphoria? Does anyone know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's when you feel something that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So you could imagine, so for like a trans person, they might feel like they're supposed to be a woman, but they have a male body.
Oh, okay.
That sort of thing. And then it really messes with your head. That's
Yeah.
what dysphoria is.
And-
That's like body
Got it,
dysmorphia.
got it.
And when you love something, you know, being able to get back to that, no matter how difficult that is, I
Yes.
think it's
Yeah.
important because it makes you happy. So you know, just like AG said with making content, and it's like Just Evil. It's like, yeah, get to a pool. You know, doing whatever you can to make yourself happier. I think that's always the best advice.
And that's basically what a New Year's resolution is.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
supposed to be, I feel
It's
like, at its
supposed to be.
core is to help improve
it's
you
the
as a
striving
You're
person.
to
right.
make
And the
yourself
problem
happy.
I feel is that it falls too often into you're failing, and
Yeah.
it makes you feel
Then you
less of
give up,
yourself.
yeah.
Yep.
And then at that point, it's like, all right, now it's no longer serving its purpose.
There
We
needs
need
to be
fix
a
it.
reforming of this
System.
festivity.
Yeah, now it's New Year's goals, guys.
Yeah.
And they're designed to make you happy and
Yeah,
a better
we're
person.
changing it here now on this Potential Apes podcast. New Year's resolutions
That's
are
right.
dead and gone. And we're replacing them with New Year's goals, or as Mike's going to call them, life goals. And we're going to spread the word across the world.
You have potential.
Guys, I have a question. And I need you to answer it before we get into it. So I get my good old-fashioned paper. Drones are good for the future of war. Agree or disagree?
Not fair.
I'm going to start.
BS.
So what your topic is just about drones here, right? Okay, Nick has been teasing this topic for like 7 months now. And he's
I'm
killing
afraid
it.
I had a more simplistic topic. Originally, I had this great picture, and it was still in the form. And I just put, like, where is the line?
It's a robot dog, guys.
It was a robot
gun
dog.
on him.
I'll describe it. It was something akin to the Boston Dynamics robot or quadrupedal robot
Looks similar.
dog. Okay, looks similar with a
Machine gun.
mounted, very big gun. Okay, the
It
thing
looked like a machine gun.
apparently it has 30 times optical zoom.
That's
it has
awesome.
thermal, and it can hit something from 1,400 meters away.
This almost that's a while.
Attached to an autonomous quadrupedal robot.
Okay, so what's your topic? How about
My
that?
topic is drones are good for the future of war.
Okay,
Agree or disagree?
I'm gonna jump in this because I for those of you who don't know, I was in a Navy program. So growing up in my grandpa was in the Navy. He was actually drafted and all that stuff. So I don't like you covering stuff because I wanted to know. I'm inquisitive. So here's my opinion. I actually watched a TV show too. So I wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Yes.
When I was in high school, you guys know this. That was what my goal was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to medical things and unforeseen circumstances, life changes as we've talked about. So, for me, my biggest thing is I'm still very active in the military, and I still read a lot and look into it. I know many people who served, who passed away, stuff like that. So, in my opinion, I'm okay with drones, because especially drones that are surveillance drones. I don't say spy drones necessarily, but that's kind of what they are. I'm okay with drones in terms of as long as I will always believe in the human factor. I believe if you have a drone, there has to be somebody controlling it. I don't want Skynet. I don't want them drones by themselves. And this is a good reason. Now, this was just off of a TV show I watched. And the whole thing was about a drone, right? That this guy had gotten killed by a drone strike. And they were like, how did this happen? So basically, the guy says that there was a car traveling down somewhere in the Middle East, and this is all made up. I'm pretty sure it's made up, but it'll get to my topic or get to my point. It's a car driving, right? And it was all the intel showed that this car had high value, terrorist targets, and the drone was sent to take it out. Now the drone's approaching. Now there's a person behind the drone, right? They're flying it.
Someone's controlling.
Yeah, and they notice as they're the drone's coming, they're preparing to fire. They notice something on the car, like there's like little red spots on it, and they weren't sure what it was. Well, they found out that they ended up not doing the drone strike because the guy recognized that on the car were roses. Now in that culture, you put roses when you get married. Turns out they were not high value targets. Whoa. So we need more people that see roses. And not where if you put an autonomous drone, it would have done a calculation and said, what's the risk? And fired.
Interesting.
Whereas you need a human factor that sees that. And that's the same thing with, I think in fighter jets, you need that human factor because the decision of morality is still important. War is hell. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And I don't want a war ever to happen. It will happen again, unfortunately. I don't want it to, but they will. It's just human nature. But having things that don't have which goes back to both of our topics, does not have the human factor, does not have, just because we have a war, morality still has to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it gets away, and I think that's having drones for certain reasons are okay. But if you start doing just pushing out a random robot, that's where humanity starts to die, in my opinion. I don't believe everything should have a human behind it. Otherwise humanity literally is dead. In my opinion, if that kind of covers what your topic was. So yes, I think drones are good for certain things, but if there's a human behind that lens, whether regardless of where that person is sitting, it's important because otherwise,
a big asterisk.
Yeah,
on that,
I think it's the future, yes, because it's easier. You don't have to worry about them. We lose a drone, right? We lost money. The America did that. We lost it with they attacked a couple years ago. I think some crazy Iran radicals took one down, and it's like, all right, well, we didn't do anything because it was a drone. We can't say that the government was involved or not. So we lost a drone. We didn't lose a pilot.
Yeah.
So drones are important. They give us some capabilities. I don't know about other countries in terms of your military. I know the American military very well. But again, I feel like if there's not a person behind that, I feel like that's where humanity and morality and these lines that we talked about, I feel like you start to die, and it's a really aggressive take, but I think that kind of sums up a very important part about, unfortunately, war is hell, and that's why people step up.
I think when approaching this question, we can all agree war is not good.
No one wants it.
No one wants it.
Yeah.
So, Chuck, you got a perspective on this?
I do. Number one, you basically said, are drones good for the future of war?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to give it back to you. Are satellite lasers a good idea for the future of war? Personally, in my opinion, when it comes to drones, they are an incredibly sharp double-edged sword. Incredibly sharp on both sides of this thing. Number one, there's many reasons why. I mean, for starters, we're not talking like AI, although it could get to that point.
Never do AI.
Now, I'm
played
also
too many
talking,
games.
like the question you was kind of asking, and I know Mike's got good perspective on especially the current application of drone use, and where that could potentially go in the near future. General, I kind of took this from a generalized perspective of, what happens with drones into the future of warfare. Number one, I don't really think they're going to get loose. It's not like I don't think it's just going to just willy-nilly do what it wants. I think they're going to be well programmed. And like I said, we're not really talking AI, like it's a sentient AI that's just making decisions. They're all so bad, So I don't think that's another. That's for something else. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, so some of my perspective might come with a particular angle on it. I'm pretty anti-war, so you'll get some perspective on that with some of my takes on this. That being said, I do respect service members and that kind of thing. It's not an easy job.
It's not their decision to go to war.
No, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And most of them, I think they'll be the first to tell you, they do it for their country. They do it for other reasons. They don't
think about your family, and that kind of thing.
There's only a small percentage of these people that, and usually they can catch them before they get in that want war. That usually we can catch them. But obviously things slip through the cracks. But yes, you're right. Service members, they do it there, but they're the first to tell you to advocate peace.
Absolutely. So number one, the bad, okay? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I did a little checklist. There's bad and there's good to this. Some of the bad, number one, it unevens the playing field, which, I mean, now I'll give you a little perspective on that, but this, like I said, a very, very sharp double-edged sword. You uneven a playing field, and you have a country like the United States, for example, with the amount of money it has put into its military, okay, in drone tech and that kind of thing. The playing field will be uneven with anyone who attempts to come close to messing with us.
That is the point of them, though.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, you have two things that can happen with that kind of thing. When you get an uneven war battlefield, okay, it gets ugly fast for the one who's with less power, okay? Sure. We won't be the only countries who have drones and that kind of thing. So you either become one of two things. Number one, the tech will either become the tech will either become, make the country more powerful, which could be aggressive, or they could be a country who sells the tech to people, for money. So suddenly you get a few countries that are feuding. Okay. One country can afford a few drones. Unevens that playing field really fast.
Especially in volatile areas, unfortunately, like the Middle East and some of the African nations.
Yeah. So, for example, it's like let's say there is a government, who is really not nice to its people and that kind of thing. Okay, they order some serious drone tech.
They get their hands on it. Yep.
What do you think is going to happen to the people who are trying to stand up for their country, for the change that needs to be made? That it's like we're being mistreated. It's like, well, they're going to get stomped out real fast, aren't they?
Yep.
It's a serious unevening of the battlefield.
Sure.
So like I said, it's pretty bad. That could cause some really serious things down the line for countries who might have the money to defend or, prevent a change that might need to happen. So it's scary in that sense. Let me see. Yeah, so many countries could be easily overpowered. Humans are smarter for a while, but drones are immediately faster, more accurate both in precision and identification. Sure. Which again, bad, scary. Okay, scary.
They can do things human can't, and that's why we use them. But like you said, which is a gift and a curse.
In the wrong hands, in someone without a moral, not that there's any morality in war. It can be, but I mean, like a lot of times, that it's already messy when it comes to war with morality.
There's gray areas. You still want people who lean towards.
I want to jump in here. You people might see me seemingly smiling, maybe like a maniac. I promise it's not
malicious.
It's not malicious. It's more so the thrill of the debate. Because this is what I love.
It's good points.
I'm gonna play some devil's advocate here. Doesn't mean I believe in these ideas. If you know me for this long, then you know this. I love talking on.
I do have good points too, but go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing. One perspective, war is messy. Okay. And who's to say the other guy's not going to try and push further?
That's what
the
war is.
The world is in an arms race to deter or exert their will.
I call military assets, they're like life insurance to me. You have them, you want to have the best, you want the newest, the shiniest.
Defense.
But you don't want to use them.
And here's the thing. You talk about an uneven playing field.
That's war.
What's fair in war?
Nothing.
One person wants to defeat the other side, or someone wants to defend against the other side, and whoever has the more powerful technology is going to win.
Manifest destiny?
No, we're not bringing a manifest destiny
just saying,
here.
I mean...
it played a little role in us getting there. My point being here is that you can say it's like, oh, one country, their people, they're trying to stand up and fight for themselves, and the government's exerting their force on them.
Cuba.
I am saying no names. So I'm not saying anything.
I will take all the flack.
My point is, is that when one side has the higher tech, the other side doesn't have a chance.
Yep.
But I saw this comment in the chat, and I'll just read it directly. War is, by definition, a clash of moralities. So to suggest the idea of one side being more morally just than the other, the fact is that both sides believe they're right.
Can you be morally just with an attack?
Yes.
I think. Here's the thing. Okay, there is a little thing called like
World War II is, I think, morally just. It's
which side?
the Allies.
The Allies.
I think everyone. That's one of those you can look at when you say there's many gray areas in war, but there are certain times in history where you can look and say this side was clearly in the right.
Yeah.
Sure. And here's the thing.
Historically,
To
war
suggest
has had
the
a lot
fact
of
that-
place.
Now, and I agree. Okay,
But
with how
yes,
this
there's
outcome
lots
came.
of gray areas in war, unfortunately.
The thing you wonder is like, how in the world did they get to that state or whatever? Whenever you say, we clearly the Allies had the right idea, is ignoring so much of what came before that led an entire country to that direction. They got there somehow.
Who?
The
Are you
Axis
just talking?
powers
Oh, okay.
is what I'm suggesting, okay? And I'm not saying there's any moral justice there, but somehow they thought they were right enough to fight for it, you know? And the factor is that that's the thing, is that when you have a clash of two moralities where someone says they're doing this terrible thing, and then the other side says what they are doing is literally an atrocity. And it's like, who's right? And it's like, you can look from the outside and pick a side or something, but the factor is that there are two sides of a line, and some people stand on one and some people stand on the other. So when it comes to the discussion of, is the power imbalanced? I mean, for some people who believe in their cause and believe in their side, they'd say, forget the other guy. We better have the better tech.
I mean, you know, I'm trying to think on this.
I would also
It's
say...
so frustrating
Go ahead.
to, like, for some of these things, okay? You know, especially, you know, World War II. Take any of these wars. Yeah. It's so frustrating that some of this stuff can't be solved by talking to each other.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. It's
True,
like,
but at the same time,
This is why
diplomacy.
we like debate. This
yes,
is why we're here.
But diplomacy only goes so far. We tried it, but there are people that are just
and that's what's
too
so
far gone. There's evil.
sad.
Evil will
Exactly.
always exist.
I disagree with that term.
What are you
I
talking
think
about?
evil is the worst word.
Hitler was not evil. Would you say he was not evil personified?
I'd say he had a perspective. He had an idea.
He was
I
evil.
think it was
there's
a
a
bad
handful
idea.
of people in this world you can say
I think
were
evil is what. I think the word evil is what drives fighting. Like, you label one side evil, it's like now you have an
He
enemy.
was evil.
Well,
I think
And
by
we did
moral
that. We did.
perspectives,
And
I
we
think
yes.
what
did
Nick's
have
saying is
diplomacy,
you
and
can't
he
label
broke it.
an entire group of people.
I'm not.
as
I'm
evil.
labeling.
that's what he's saying. He said-
Hitler and his SS squads were evil.
What I'm saying here's what I'm saying, because I don't disagree with
Yeah.
you necessarily. What I'm saying is that the word evil is a very
Yes, I
misused
see what you're saying, yeah.
term that
Yes.
people use to dictate. They are now an enemy and they are irredeemable because they are evil.
Yeah, they're evil
what I
because they believe in one thing that you may not disagree with. I get what you're. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, and that's the thing. Good and evil. It's like they're
Chuck's evil 'cause
they
he
are
doesn't like
morality,
Mass
they
Effect
are
2.
Perspectives. Sure.
Like, see, and suddenly that
Sure.
becomes.
And
you
that's
know,
a joking matter, but then you think about the fanboy wars.
exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I'm agree. That's how it starts. Is well, and like you
So,
said,
and
there's
that's
less
the thing.
debate.
It's like there are perspectives where people will most definitely agree. There are some deplorable things that everyone would say. It's like, that's probably really bad. Nobody likes
universally
that.
condemned.
And there's universally things that people do, like, feeding the poor or feeding the hungry.
That's not controversial.
I don't think it's controversial. Sure.
There are aspects about it being controversial.
I mean, that's possible, but I mean, I think the
There's too many
betterment of
humans.
humanity
There we
is a
go.
good
We
thing.
found it.
I feel like when it comes to this kind of this whole thing, okay, because I'm like I said, I'm not a big fan of war in general. Okay,
I'm holding back.
So-
Sorry.
as soon as someone refuses to discuss and attempt to solve the situation,
Yes.
as soon as they shut it out and they stop trying to use their words to solve their problem, they have failed in general.
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot agree not using your words. If somebody wanted to fight me, okay, I would use my words.
What
I
happens
wouldn't
though
probably
if
fight
it's
them.
if you've done it so long and then nothing's happened?
See, this is
Then
like,
you're
As
literally-
soon as they
it's
stop
the definition
trying, well,
of
then you sit
insanity.
them down and you talk to them.
You can't. They don't care.
Then they're not listening.
No.
That's
as
fair.
soon as they're not listening, they
slow down.
fail.
I need to cut in here.
But who fails? You or them?
I need to cut in here.
I'm still trying.
Because this is what our democracy is, and it's the only reason that the two sides haven't killed each other, because they normally don't agree on anything. But they're still standing after 240
don't
some odd years.
Yeah.
The factor, and that's at least evidence for at least 240 some odd years, that diplomacy or discussion can work. We haven't killed each other yet.
Civil War.
We did that. That happened. That was bad.
What I'm saying
it was undesirable.
What I'm saying is Chuck is saying that we've kind of gotten away with it. But the problem is what's the definition of insanity?
Keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
All right.
Somebody
now, Chuck
said that.
has stated that if you stop talking, so what happens if you continuously talk and this person continuously rejects over, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20 years? When does it come
the
to
outcome? It's better than the outcome if
agree.
one side
No.
shuts it down and it's like, now...
Then what's the point of trying? That's literally the definition of insanity.
I think
I'm not saying
as
you
soon
go
as
to war
quit
immediately.
trying,
There's no
it's a
point.
failure.
Here's the tricky
There's
thing.
no
Here's the
point,
tricky
though.
thing. This is what I'd say. Okay?
I don't believe that.
Yes, there is.
can't
There is
be.
no
Look-
point in negotiating with a country like North because they're not going to. They don't care. They don't care. They don't want to know what
Here,
you care. They don't care about
sometimes-
your opinions.
Let me
They don't
point
want
something
to.
out, okay? We had slavery in this country, and people did not agree that it was bad.
Yes.
We eventually agreed over time. It took generations.
Took way too
No,
long.
no, not necessarily. Think about. I watched a
Fine, the consensus. The consensus came around to say this is wrong.
They could not even that. No, you can't say that. The consensus was not there at the Civil War.
Not the Civil War. I'm talking about when civil rights. That's what
Oh,
I'm talking about.
okay.
When
So
it
you-
finally got there. Civil War is when people refused to talk. They said they drew their lines. They're like, this is happening. And the other side's like, no, this is happening. And they're like, nope, we disagree. And they're like, we're only going to solve this with bloodshed. What I mean is that it's not the definition of insanity to keep trying to negotiate because things change with time. Different people come in.
You're
different
still
people
trying
leave.
for a better outcome. You're still trying to do the
As
right
soon as
thing.
you decide not to, we're so off drone warfare.
This is another. All right,
When
let's
did
go
that
back.
happen?
Yeah,
Sorry, I apologize. I think that was me.
that was you.
My bad.
And then Mike, like I said,
I jumped down Mike's throat for using the term evil. He's not.
Do you want me
bad
to go
for
into my
suggest-
good points?
I had one more thing I wanted to
ahead.
throw out there. Then we can go into actual good points because I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't believe this.
Oh no, I
It's
love
just
this.
the
This
point
is
of
great.
discussion. That's my point.
no, because
We are gonna have some great future conversations.
Nick got in the way.
I got excited
He
because we
saved
started
you.
talking about the gray. That's my point. Okay, is
He
that things
saved-
get gray.
Nick saved Chuck on that one.
I'm being misleading
body
with this
him.
question here, okay? When I put this poll out here, 100% of the answers were I disagree, okay, with the drones are good for the future of war. They have perspectives, and that's okay,
Yeah.
okay?
And I disagree
but the point
with
is
that.
that this, I don't think, is a yes or no question.
What do you mean?
It's not necessary. The answer is gray. It's not
Yeah.
black or white.
Why do you think I retorted with that
No,
question?
I think the answer is pretty either black and white.
I can give
But
you
that's
good
a perspective,
points.
and that's okay.
You guys want good points?
So as to
Got to
why
my last ones for devil's advocate. One,
I'm gonna kill you.
my
man.
favorite. Drones don't commit war crimes.
Ouch.
They're just tools. They're literally
Exactly.
like microphones.
My point is, okay, let's say if you had an autonomous army of drones, okay?
This is Skynet. We don't talk. That's Mass Effect. It
They
ends
don't
badly.
commit war crimes.
Even Mike
Yes, they
disagrees
do.
with the autonomous drones.
I'm against autonomous
Fine.
drones.
What
they
if-
can commit if you're saying that they're autonomous, they can technically commit war crimes
No,
because
who
they're doing it
programmed?
wrong. I don't
Whoever
know. That's
owns
what I'm
the
saying.
drones
Whoever told them what to do.
is
But
responsible for what
not
the drones
necessar-
do.
Yeah, but
My point is, okay, is that typically when one side loses in a war, it usually spells bad things for women and girls and children. Drones don't do that.
we don't know because we don't have autonomous drones.
Drones don't do that.
But drones. But you're just using drones as you're saying. You're just saying. All right, they're tools, right?
Yes.
So your question is are drones good for the future of war? So we
Yes.
get rid of drones. That just means there's more human lives at stake.
Yes. It
So
throws
you're
human
okay with
lives in-
more human lives at stake because the human lives are going to
This
take
is
the
its
top
own
of the
topic
drain.
in itself,
I
and I
was
love it.
talking about drones. No,
If you
this
get
is
rid
the
of drones, the drones that fly
there's
up,
more humans now playing in the field. That means more people to get hurt
yes.
in warfare.
So
and
we're
more
okay. We're
civilians
okay
to
with
be
that. We're okay with that. We're not okay with using
I
a
was playing
robot.
devil's advocate for drones being good for the future warfare, as in they don't commit
Yes, they
humanistic
do.
war crimes.
If you create them to a degree, they can commit atrocities. If they're learning and you just unleash them on the world, yes, they will do that. Go ahead, Chuck.
All right, my good points for drones.
Love you too, buddy.
You guys ready? All right, good points. Number 1, make spying more efficient.
Yes.
Okay, which number 1 can keep
Puts
people.
less humans at risk.
Yes.
It can keep people part of government agencies. It can keep governments more accountable
Yep.
because they're getting spied on hard, and it's real easy. And we didn't put a gun on them. We just heard, "Hey, what did you say?"
Yeah.
Who knows? That could be twisted, but at the same time,
Absolutely.
point is you can keep people a little bit more accountable. In addition to this, less people on the ground, obviously a good thing. Multiple applications such as search and rescue, they have their purpose in hopefully different areas, because we can use a search and rescue drone, okay, in a military battlefield or in a emergency situation,
Like a FEMA, exactly.
or an
Yeah.
environmental crisis.
Yeah.
So drones definitely have their applications, but specifically to military use, I can't, like I said, is a satellite laser a good for the future of war?
Yes and no. I'd be okay with it.
Here's the thing. That's the thing. Is that the devil's advocate for drones is that it puts less humans at risk. And that sounds weird and it sounds lopsided, but this is where it comes into
Devil
the side
advocate, you're really mixing that up on me. You're really confusing me with it.
Well, the thing is that no one thinks drones are good for the future of war.
I do.
Mike does, but not with autonomy. Asterisk.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I'm going to tell you right now, anything you guys talk, and this is not a bash against anybody, but I'm going to tell you right now, from the person I am, my opinions, especially in terms of in war and stuff like that in the military, I'm probably going to be 100% disagree, or at least 95 to 99% disagree with probably everybody in the Discord chat.
Maybe, yeah.
Man, that's not again. That's
Well,
not
you have a military perspective that many of us.
But
do
I also
not
have
zero perspective.
the problem comes into is I was also, bro, you don't have to mark out their names. I'm not going to attack them.
No. The reason I'm doing that is because here's the thing. We have community responses. I've actually decided to omit the names from what people have said. Because this is a very spicy topic. People didn't elect that. You can out yourself in the chat if you want to. That's fine. I'm just not going to mention them on the actual recording.
But the thing is again, I believe in certain things, and everyone has their right to opinion. But me, I for whatever reason, as a 30-year-old, I'm generally in the minority on people I meet.
You called yourself a boomer last time. I mean,
That's what people call me, and I'm okay with that.
That's the important.
Remember, I was raised a little bit differently. I have that perspective,
Yeah.
and again, it's not a knock against anybody. Everyone has their opinions.
That's the importance of this
it's
podcast.
important to have multiple.
Is
opinions.
that it's meant to have multiple opinions, and you have opinions on this that
Very
people
strong
would have
opinions.
never thought of.
Well, no, they think
Then
of, but
they
then
hear
they
it,
look
they're
at me
like-
like I'm a psychopath,
No, but also
or I
some
scare
might hear-
them.
Some will be
Like
that.
I suggested, it puts less people in the field at risk. It's like someone might hear that. It's like, I guess technically you're right, because if it's just all humans on the ground, there's going to be a whole lot more people getting hurt.
and
Think of it like this,
errors,
okay?
yeah.
You ask anyone.
You don't want to be on the losing side of that, but
You ask anyone who's from a country that isn't as powerful as the United States, ask them if the future of drones is a good thing for war.
They're gonna say,
You
"Heck
think
no."
their country can afford the same drones that we can, or blah blah blah?
No.
How do you think anybody feels with that? Nobody wants to be
that's
on the receiving end of a
on their
drone.
country. It's not our fault. It's not my fault. That's on them.
it's also not their
They
fault.
don't. Not everybody
we
chooses to
just
be
helped-
where they are.
We just did the submarine deal with Australia.
Yeah, I don't have any perspective.
I have to look more into it, but I'm just saying you help out other countries to stabilize. Again, I call it, and people look at me crazy, but this military and the weapons we have, the tools we have, I like it, and from my perspective, again, is they are tools. They're life insurance. I want them. I want the newest. I want the best. I want the greatest tech out there.
Yeah.
But I never, ever want to have to pull the trigger. Ever.
Ah, right there.
I'm a big fan of defense.
That's basically, yes.
Sure.
I would rather have, yes, it's a deterrent. Now, people
Yes.
say, oh, then people get into the word, but it's like, if I have that ability, you're less likely to be like, you know what, let's go mess
A
with that.
thief doesn't walk into a house with the lights on.
They don't
it's
walk
a
in ones that
deterrent.
have the security systems. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what, you choose. So you're not going to see this with all the shine. You're like, yeah, let's. Now, that's not necessarily a good thing. But the thing is, been picking on another thing. But all I'm saying is I want them. I want everything in my toolbox so I can use it. I just don't want to have to
There's
use
a
it.
thing called mutually assured destruction. It's what keeps everyone who has nukes from nuking each other.
Yeah.
That is the worst.
It's bad to have this technology even available. It's also the
But
only
you
thing
want to
that
have it
keeps
because
the
then
other,
otherwise, like Chuck said,
quote unquote, the other
you're
from
on-
using it on you.
yeah, you're on the bad end of the stick if you don't have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's
but
why-
then you have to be in agreements with some of the countries who have it
Which they do.
to
Yeah.
hope that the other country doesn't use it on them. It's like, no, we're with them. You can't attack us, you know.
Suddenly, you need defense
Here,
from
Chuck-
people you might disagree with.
Give us your takes. Did you have any more takes to add to this or no?
No, not really. I'm not like. Look, I think drone tech is really cool. Big fan of technology.
Yes,
I always
yeah,
have been.
yeah.
Military use.
There's very,
terrifying.
very high. Yeah, there's very, very high. What's the word you were using earlier? Potential in different aspects of the world, like you
Yes.
said. I would
There's
say
a lot of use for these kind of tech.
fires out in California.
Yeah, absolutely.
FEMA things. I think we use them. I'm not. I have to look into it. In all honesty, I'm not 100% sure. I would like to think we do. Is to some degree is use the equipment in emergency disasters or things like that.
Preferably good things.
Yeah, and which again, the potential for different. I can't think of the word. It's making me mad. Of universal different uses would be whether that's
I believe
like I said-
potential is
Application.
an accurate word.
what.
There's multiple applications. For
Yes, thank you. Yeah, multiple applications, and a lot of them that aren't military. That are assisting things.
it. Do we have other perspectives on
I
this?
want
Yeah.
I want to read these last two perspectives.
You want me to read them or you want to read them?
You can go ahead and read them.
Okay. Am I supposed to?
No. Not that.
Okay.
Just these.
Just the paragraphs here. All right. I don't. This is all anonymous. If you want to take it, like Nick said, you can take it. And there's no. And I want to make it really clear. There is no judgment one way or the other.
No,
I think
we're having different perspectives here. I mean, unless you're advocating that you just
yeah.
want to hurt people, I
Then,
mean, you
yeah,
know,
then-
I don't
yes.
think anyone's advocating.
Yeah,
it.
I didn't think so.
And yeah, and people may look at me and think, but no, I don't. I want tools that I never just sit in my toolbox. Yeah. All right. So this one says I'm more in between with this, but I do think it is more of a disadvantage in general because this opens up the avenue of certain countries with the money and power, as Chuck said, for drones. It basically becomes impossible for any country to defeat, as drones don't need to eat, sleep, or even condition their muscles. And I believe this gives these countries an unfair advantage and may become illegal in wars like non-detectable fragments, shrapnel that X-rays don't pick up, blinding laser weapons or landmines. This is because those were deemed unfair or causing unneeded suffering in war. So I think what I will say to that one is I would agree with that. Again, that would be if drones were by themselves.
Yeah.
Because you're right, they don't need to eat or sleep. But
yes,
luckily,
autonomous drones.
but that's why you have people that are on the other side that
See,
say,
I'm not gonna lie. I think people would very much morally like to put drones on that list of unacceptable things in war. I don't think it'll go there.
no.
It's
People-
too
some
much of an
people
advantage.
would,
you know
but
how
yeah.
much
No way
money's
people
going to be in that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Next comment. I mean, I'm against war as a whole, so I'd rather not have any more money being poured into tech that continues to drive up war economy.
Yep.
MSG for flashbacks.
That's Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay. I see it as a slope to drive up more dangerous tools of war than just drones. Just frustrating to see money being used to further war tools. It's scary to think in years what is at a country's disposal as if it isn't already there. So no, I'm not for drones. I can understand how they can be beneficial for countries that use them regardless of my opinion of them. But the question is how good are they as a stepping stone for more dangerous tech to come, I suppose. And in my opinion, I guess the same thing. It's and I get both sides. But again, it's the same thing as people worried that those drones lead to more things, which they will.
I mean, I like personally with me on this. Number one, another topic for another day.
Yes.
Military spending. Can't wait to discuss that one because I'm going to rip it apart.
You could try.
Oh, I will.
You
I
can
will.
try.
Let me see.
I don't know what those two bottom
What
are.
else was the other thing?
Bonus thing.
No. Those are other things. These are the two perspectives. Otherwise, I'm gonna knock this out and then we're out.
Okay.
But yes, so the slope, you're right.
The acceleration.
You
of
need to, yeah.
technology.
This person has a drone. What can beat the drone? And then what can beat that? And what can beat that? When they beat, what can beat semi-automatic? Automatics. What can beat automatics? Things like that. I agree. It's one up in each other. And that's one of the other things that it's an arms race that may or may not. It's currently actually I think there's a small arms race for space things, but
One of the things about drones too, okay, is as much as any of us might have the perspective, no, I don't like it, or I don't want it to be a thing, or blah, blah, blah. It's inevitable,
Yeah.
you know?
That's
So
definitely my perception.
yeah,
it's
it's
inevitable. The factor is it's available and it's extremely advantageous, and there's no way any country that's looking for an
It's
advantage
like
isn't going to take
stream, and again, I compare these to really stupid things, but there's too many streaming services. Physical things, just all digital. It's inevitable to a degree, but I don't like it, and that's one of the things is I feel like I'm glad people don't like it, and to a degree, but also they understand that like some of it's a very slippery slope, I guess, on both sides. I would hope, again, like I said, that I believe in the end, and I think this will wrap up two other ones. It all comes down to human factor, and that's very important. That again, you people see roses. If we, regardless of the weapons we have, right? If the people behind them believe in a morality of humans and helping one another and bettering the human cause, then these are they're just gonna be tools that are flying around.
Universal
Causing
morality.
sadness and
That's
pain.
a topic in itself. Guys, I want to close this out real fast, okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you for joining us today. This has been the Potential Apes podcast. We've had some spicy topics. This is all about the discussion, the debate, and just trying to be better. And I think these conversations are important to have. I just wanted to note, thank you, Azran. Azran made a comment about how our form worked, and it is now improved because of it. And also, Chuck, is there anything you'd like to say before we close? I got one thing to say.
This was definitely a thick boy show. I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for sticking with us. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us. I mean, this one covered some heavy topics, but at the same time, I think it explored, human morality in a way that I don't think we all expected.
We had a weird underlying theme.
Yeah,
that
and I love
comes
that.
down to human morality.
I think this episode was fantastic. I really enjoyed this one, for sure. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for your continued support.
Mike, you got anything you want to say?
Well, hopefully you join us tomorrow evening for Xbox Game Pass. We'll review our game, pick a new one, and then next week, I'm not sure what you guys have. I just show up for the Good Morning Gamer, so that's a nice thing. We have that next week, so remember, we alternate weeks. In terms of this, to sign up for the Discord, like Chuck's always saying, I know though. See, like I said, I just show up because I lend.
Perspective.
Nick, I lend good perspective. Nick's trying to act like he's all sultry, but let's be honest, I'm the real core here. The show got better when I got involved.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I agree.
Chuck and Nick will have to figure out how the streaming service works because they are the experts, and I will respect that. So they will let you know when it's posted and cut and do all the complicated things rather than me just showing up and giving spicy takes.
I want to say one last thing. This is from Jesse, so thank you. Ape has potential. Ape potentially strong. Ape potentially makes scary drone. Ape potentially regrets. But Ape knows for sure. Ape always has potential to do anything Ape sets mind to.
And I hope we're not talking about real monkeys because it scares me.
no, we're talking about us, man.
The humans.
Good night, people.